Hello everyone, welcome to the latest edition of the I Watch Horror podcast. As always, I am your host Matt, and this week we have news on what could have been with Saw 11, an Annabelle bucket, and some redemption for Urban Legend. Also, the Toxic Avenger hits theaters this week. Let's get to it. For fans of the Saw franchise, a little news has trickled out about what almost was. There had been a plan for a direct follow-up to Saw 10, and the idea was for it to pick up just 30 seconds after the final scene of the last film. But it never happened. Now we're hearing from franchise producer Orrin Coles about why the script was shelved. He explained he and fellow producer Mark Berg simply had a difference of opinion on the creative direction for the movie. This is a bit of a shift from what we heard earlier from co-writer Patrick Melton, who suggested it was due to high-level things. Turns out it was just the producers having different ideas on where to take the story. This disagreement ultimately led to something much bigger, with Twisted Pictures selling their half of the Saw franchise to Blumhouse. This is a huge deal because it means that now the series will be under the guidance of James Wan, who is of course the original co-creator. It's a fresh start for the series under a new banner, with Wan involved in shaping its future. The discussion around a new Buffy series has been a hot topic for a while now, and a lot of the speculation has centered on which original cast members might be involved. One of the names that comes up again and again is Charisma Carpenter, who of course played Cordelia Chase. It's a role that evolved from a classic Mean Girl into something much more complex over her time on both Buffy and Angel. Recently, Carpenter herself stepped in to put some of the speculation to rest. She addressed the topic directly on TikTok, responding to the flood of questions she's received about it. According to her, there have been no conversations, no meetings, nothing at all about her reprising her role of Cordelia in the new series. It's an interesting bit of news that seems to confirm that this new iteration of Buffy will be just that, new, with a fresh cast and a new story. There's some news from Osgood Perkins, the filmmaker behind last year's surprise hit Longlegs. His newest project, a horror film titled Keeper, is on the way, and we've just gotten a first look at the official teaser trailer. The film stars Tatiana Maslany, who many will recognize from her incredible work in Orphan First Kill, and Rossif Sutherland. The story follows the two as a couple on a seemingly romantic weekend trip to a remote cabin. However, things take a turn when Sutherland's character leaves abruptly, and Maslany's character is left to face a sinister presence alone. The trailer, while brief, is doing what Osgood Perkins does best, creating an atmosphere of unsettling dread. It's not about jump scares. It's about a deep psychological kind of terror, where the audience is left to question exactly what is real, and what might be a manifestation of the characters' unraveling minds. The trailer itself is a masterclass in this, presenting the same events from two conflicting perspectives, leaving the audience to wonder who, if anyone, is a reliable narrator. It's a compelling approach that echoes some of the ideas from films like Zach Cregger's Weapons and creates a lot of intrigue without giving anything away. Keeper is set to be released on November 14th, and there's a lot of anticipation for what Perkins will do next. He seems to be cementing his status as a new voice in horror, and this new film looks to be a continuation of that trend. As fans of the Conjuring franchise know, we're nearing the final chapter of Ed and Lorraine Warren's cinematic journey. The Conjuring Last Rites is set to open on September 5th, bringing Vera Farmiga and Patrick Wilson back to their iconic roles for one last time. Directed by Michael Chavez, who also helmed The Conjuring The Devil Made Me Do It, this film is said to be based on the infamous Smurl family haunting case, which gained significant media attention in the 1980s. And in a move that's become a hallmark of big-budget horror, the film's promotional machine is out in full force. The latest offering is a piece of movie memorabilia, an Annabelle popcorn bucket. This isn't just a simple graphic on a bucket, it's a detailed, three-dimensional collectible molded after the infamous doll herself. The bucket is currently available at Regal Theaters and can also be found online through Marcus Theaters for about $45. It's an interesting piece of marketing, placing a physical representation of one of the franchise's most potent symbols right in the audience's lap. The Annabelle bucket serves as a little physical piece of the cinematic world you're about to enter, sitting there on your lap as the lights go down, ready to hold your popcorn. The new series Alien Earth has landed with an impressive splash. The show, which is the latest entry in the iconic sci-fi franchise, has garnered 9.2 million views in its first 6 days. That's a global number that combines viewership across its various streaming platforms, and it's a very strong indicator of the show's popularity. The show takes place in the year 2120, a couple of years before the events of the original film, and it delves into the origins of the franchise's terrifying creatures. It centers on a group of hybrids, a new life form in this universe, who find themselves in a desperate situation after a spaceship crashes on Earth. They are forced to confront something new and terrifying, even for this universe, as they face down a variety of new alien life forms. The series comes from showrunner Noah Hawley, who created the TV adaptations of Fargo and Legion, and is produced by FX Productions. It features a cast that includes Timothy Olyphant and Sidney Chandler. When we think of the Scream franchise, we often think of a certain tone. It's a mix of self-aware meta-commentary and genuine nerve-shattering suspense. But as the series has gone on, some might argue that the tone has shifted. The jokes have gotten bigger, the body count higher, and the blood flowing more freely. With the upcoming Scream 7, it sounds like the original creative team is pulling things back, focusing on the very core of what made the first film such a breakout hit. Neve Campbell is officially back as Sidney Prescott, and she's being joined by franchise architect Kevin Williamson, who is stepping into the director's chair for the first time in the series. This new collaboration is a reunion of sorts, and their shared vision is clear: get back to the basics. They're dialing back the spectacle in favor of a more psychological horror. The focus is on making the film genuinely scary, relying on tension and suspense rather than just a river of red. And this shift in tone is deeply personal to Williamson, who has said that the main goal for this new film is to give Sidney Prescott, the character who has been through so much trauma, the happy ending she deserves. The film's cast is a mix of familiar and new faces. We've heard that along with Campbell, Courtney Cox will be returning, and they'll be joined by newcomers like Isabel May and McKenna Grace. It's an interesting move, one that signals a return to a more character-driven story. It's about Sidney, yes, but it's also about what happens when you're forced to confront the past after you thought you'd finally escaped it. Good news for fans of Stephen King and those who love a good supernatural thriller. MGM Plus has officially greenlit a second season of its series, The Institute. The show, which is an adaptation of King's 2019 novel of the same name, will return for 8 more episodes. The first season has been a big success for the streaming service, with reports that it had the best premiere ever for an MGM Plus original. This renewal means the creative team, including director Jack Bender and showrunner Benjamin Cavill, will get to continue a story they've always felt had more to tell. It also means we'll get to see the next chapter for the characters, including young psychic Luke Ellis, played by Joe Freeman, and the former police officer Tim Jamison, played by Ben Barnes. The show's creators have expressed their excitement to expand the world that King built, promising to explore the new dangers that await the characters who have managed to escape the horrors of the Institute. And finally, in news that made me so happy, the 1998 slasher Urban Legend is making an unexpected comeback. It's climbing the charts over on AMC Plus, and its sudden popularity has people talking. It was largely panned by critics back in the late 90s, who largely dismissed it as a poor imitation of Scream, but the years have been kind to it. It has a unique premise with a killer who uses classic urban legends as the basis for a series of murders on a college campus. The film has also been getting a second look from fans who are finding a lot to love in its cast, which includes a lot of recognizable faces from that era. Alicia Witt as the lead, and a young Jared Leto and Rebecca Gayheart in supporting roles, along with some great cameos from horror legends like Robert Englund. So after 2.5 decades, it's getting a positive reevaluation. It seems a lot of people are finding that while it might not have reinvented the genre, it's still a surprisingly clever and entertaining piece of late 90s horror. And that, my friends, is it for the news. Links to all of my sources will be included in the show notes. We have 3 films being released or re-released in theaters this week. Let's start with The Toxic Avenger. And the synopsis reads: when a downtrodden janitor is exposed to a catastrophic toxic accident, he's transformed into a new kind of hero. the Toxic Avenger. Now, Toxie must rise from outcast to survivor, taking on ruthless corporate overlords and corrupt forces who threaten his son, his friends, and his community. In a world where greed runs rampant, justice is best served radioactive. Next up, we have Somnium, and the synopsis reads, with hopes of making it big in LA, small-town Gemma takes the overnight shift at Somnium, a mysterious sleep clinic where dreams are made real, but soon finds herself trapped in its web of dark secrets. Next up, we have the Jaws 50th anniversary re-release, and the synopsis reads, when a young woman is killed by a shark while skinny dipping near the New England tourist town of Amity Island, Police Chief Martin Brody wants to close the beaches, but Mayor Larry Vaughn overrules him, fearing that the loss of tourist revenue will cripple the town. Ichthyologist Matt Hooper and grizzled ship Captain Quint offer to help Brody capture the killer beast, and the trio engage in an epic battle of man versus nature. We have 4 films being released on video on demand this week. First up, I Know What You Did Last Summer, and the synopsis reads, when 5 friends inadvertently cause a deadly car accident, they cover up their involvement and make a pact to keep it secret rather than face the consequences. A year later, their past comes back to haunt them and they're forced to confront a horrifying truth. Someone knows what they did last summer and is hell-bent on revenge. As one by one the friends are stalked by a killer, they discover this has happened before, and they turn to 2 survivors of the legendary Southport Massacre of 1997 for help. Next up, Kill Giggles, and the synopsis reads, Tommy Dos Santos wasn't born a psychopath, nor was he made into a sociopath. He was something entirely new, and he was walking his own path. A path that will run red with the blood of the foulest, most fiendishly frightening creatures ever conceived by man. No longer do they have the starring role in our nightmares. It is now the clowns who are the prey, running for their lives from a killer who won't stop until every single one of them is dead. As Tommy's body count rises, he finds himself getting closer and closer to what he thought was a ghost, the once great clown king known as Giggles, and wonders if laughter can't die. How about Giggles? Up next, The Home, and the synopsis reads, Max, a troubled man, starts working at a retirement home and realizes its residents and caretakers harbor sinister secrets. As he investigates the building and its forbidden 4th floor, he starts to uncover connections to his own past and upbringing as a foster child. And finally, we have Together, and the synopsis reads, years into their relationship, Tim and Millie find themselves at a crossroads as they move to the country. With tensions already flaring, an encounter with an unnatural force threatens to corrupt their lives, their love, and their flesh. Thank you all so much for hanging out with me for a few minutes today. Be sure to like, subscribe, comment, rate, review, share, all of those things. It really is a huge help as we try to grow I Watch Horror. On that note, we will be trying out some new things in the coming weeks beyond just this podcast, so stay tuned for that. How can you do that? Well, we are on Instagram, X, Threads. The handle for all 3 is I_watch_horror. All of those links will be in the show notes. I hope you all have a wonderful week. Until next time, take care.